Main Street. Main Street is hard. You aren't in it trying to figure out what to do and going to the meetings and stuff is a challenge that can weigh you down if you don't watch it. Why we have the maintenance and appearance ordinance, and I think it's something we're going to have to address or keep a better tab on people keeping their property up, is the situation like we have at the pharmacy up there or Hampton Street, that we're, if they can't come in and bring the building to code, this is an important part of town you want to see thrive and grow. It's going to come back on the city to, you know, to feel like they have to take it over. So it's a cost issue with us. And I hope this maintenance and appearance ordinance, we got to enforce it, will eliminate some of that in the future, where these buildings don't get so bad. Nobody's going to buy them. If it's on your main street, if you care about your main street, then it seems like the city has to step up. And the city's going to do what they can, as long as they can. But maybe that's why we keep them, try to keep them up to code.
Yes.
And I'm seeing more work done on the buildings on Main Street. Hopefully that will address some of that. Speaking of that, I know that upfit grants are just about due. We paid one in full. I talked to him today. He's waiting on the trust to come in to finish his building. I think that'll be fine. So one beside the Council on Aging. Lynn and I discussed a little bit of the other one. We're gutted. The old pharmacy building. He's been quiet there. So we got to see what his plans are. But it just leads me to, we got some pretty tight standards on those applications. Now we may have to even tighten them up more to protect the city. It's a learning experience. It's a learning curve. Standards are there for a reason. They have to meet. I've been watching a series called Fighting for Our Survival. It's called the Wabash Main Street program of Wabash, Indiana, a city of about 11,000 on the 2010 census, and it's a series of 6 programs. I listened to all of them. The town has a lot going for it if you would go by and look at it or see the pictures of it, but they have a struggle just like we do on a much larger town. But I do hear things want to come in, like a restaurant that's looking for a building. There is interest. There's reason to keep your head up. There's reason for optimism. But it's a challenge too. But we knew that. We knew that. And then right now, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Did something different this month. I explained to you in my letter to you. Your financial report, starting this month, you had an attachment to each one of those finance reports to give you a highlight of the revenue and some of the expenditures. Also, beginning this month, Janice will have a time during our meeting to go over the report or take any questions that you may have about finance report. That would be easily to streamline all the questions at one time instead of having them at different times, and she can possibly give us a quicker answer and have everything in front of you. Mayor, you mentioned upfit grant. They are due August the 20th. They've been advertised in the newspaper. They've been put on our website page, Facebook page, and Bridget with Downtown Development has sent out some information out of her office on her Facebook page to gather interest from our respective applicants. I think this process is going to go a little bit easier for whoever's granted an application, or granted the grant, or awarded the grant, as I may say. They have more time to do it than they did the previous year. If you remember last year, we actually did not award the grant till December. This year, the deadline is August 20th, which is a week from today. We should then turn around and get them back to council in September, and hopefully you can meet with the applicants during the month of September, as we did this past December to go over their applications, and then you can determine who is awarded those grants. We do only have two, up to $15,000 each, for a total of $30,000 for both grants. The facade grant's a little different, and that is first come, first served basis. That's not approved by council. That's just people who apply for the facade grant. They actually have to be approved first through the Bar of Architectural Review, because we're dealing with the outside of the buildings. So that committee has to approve that grant, and once that grant's approved by the committee, Beanie usually signs off of it and give these folks time to go ahead and do it. Normally those take anywhere from 3 to 4 months to get those completed once they start, because you're either talking about painting, new awning, or new signage for facade grants. So that one should be pretty good and not take as much time. We budgeted for 8. This past year, I think we spent money for roughly a little over $20,000 in this past budget year. We budgeted for $24,000, but I think we reimbursed, I think it was like $20,000, because everybody didn't get the maximum amount of money that they could get there. You should have gotten your packet, and you may have gotten an email from Rodney Berry to join Congressman Tom Rice and the Port Authority on August 22nd. Did y'all get that? So if you're planning to attend, make sure you go ahead and RSVP. So I think it's listed there on their telephone number to Rodney Berry, or an email address to let them know you plan to attend. Demolition of 112 East Hampton Street. That is the building beside Family Dollar. Last month I told you we had one bid. I just received prior to the meeting another bid. As far as the text, haven't seen in writing yet, but they did text me with a number. The high bid so far is $70,000. The low bid is $48,000. Now I have on the agenda, and we'll talk about it more at that time in new business about these bids. I just want to let you know we did receive the second bid right before 7 o'clock for $48,000. Also listed in your packet the purpose of stormwater fee in the city. I don't know how many of you gotten phone calls concerning that. We came up with this a few weeks ago, had it in the newspaper to give everyone an idea and the philosophy behind the stormwater fee. A lot of people really think stormwater is a water sewer operation. They think that's where it goes. It does not go into our, should not go into our sewer system. We do not want to treat stormwater. So to answer the questions of many is that your sewer bill does not pay for stormwater. This fee will actually pay for the maintenance of and trying to eliminate some of the headaches that we have with stormwater not being able to be moved quickly enough. So that's been in your packet, and this is also at our window here at the water department where people pay their bills so they can see this. Last at this point that I have for you, just to let you know, our quality of life programs that we've had during the summer, our summer pop-up concert. Bridget Thornton with Downtown Dillon has spearheaded those 2 events. They went well. We had one in July, and then one, well, not this past weekend, but the weekend prior. And then our series of outdoor movies that we held June, July, and August. We completed the 3rd one this past Friday night. So we had some good turnouts for those, and planning to do more in the future in the spring and in the summer of next year. That's all I have at this point, Mayor.
Let me add I know I was coming in earlier today, the farmers market pop-up thing out there. They had a good crowd at the end of the day. I think that's something that could really be built on for the city.
I think they've got 2 more scheduled, one in September and one in October.
Yeah, second Monday of every month through October. And they'll cease till next, I want to say, spring. Next year. Did you just do the finance report, or should we turn it to Janet?
Pardon?
Finance report.
No, it's Janet. Haven't done it. Janet will do it. with that from here on out.
Okay. You got it in your packet, the highlights, of the financial report. You got your savings account, your depreciation account, the general fund. We'll go over that first. Rather than read it, I will just give you the bottom lines in case you got any questions. Your revenues were $333,240. Your expenses was $645.50.
Where is this on this?
See on the front of your,
And then the second page of it.
yeah. And then it's on your report. But that's the reason we have more of our expenses coming in July with with our insurance, our workers' comp, things like that, annual maintenance on computers and software. So that's going to be our biggest hit is in July. Our revenues don't really start coming in until November or December for taxes, and then business license is our next one that comes in what, May, April and May, somewhere along in there. Got any questions about general fund? Okay, then you got your water and sewer. Operations on that. Your revenues were $353,729. Your expenses were $267,912, bringing in $85,817 for the month. Then you got your golf course. Our revenues there was $23,225. Our expenses was $36,340, bringing us out $13,115. We did transfer the $15,000 over there to help with the expenses.
That's about what you spent on.
And then you've got your hospitality taxes, 2%. Your revenues, after taking the $15,000 out of there, transferring it over to the golf course, you came in with $53,980 for the month. Your state accommodation tax, we got our first check for this quarter was $38,938, which general fund takes the first $25,000 of that plus 5%, then the rest 30% goes to the chamber, and then the 65% of that, if there's any left, goes into the committee disbursement. Then you got your 3% local accommodation tax. We brought in $8,631. We spent $2,324.
Is that restricted,
Which one?
the 3%?
Restricted, it still has to be tourism based.
And we got $150,000 in there.
A lot of that sometimes most of that we'll use advertisements for whatever we do with the city, Celebrate Maine, things of that nature.
And the signs on the interstate.
And signs on the interstate, that is correct. Do we pay the lights on the interstate?
Yes, we do. We pay the lights, which is right at $1,000 a month.
Yeah, the lights on exit 193 are paid out of that also.
Then we got your DEA savings and checking, which there's no activity in that. And then you got your state drug fund, which we don't have any of that. So, is there any questions?
We'll tell you in the hospitality money, the 2% funds, just for 1 month, and we should be, based on the equal months, right, of the 12, at roughly 8% in collections for everything and expenditures and everything. But in hospitality revenue, we collected 10.3%.
Most total, 55.
54,000.
Where is that?
If it continues, that's a good thing.
I think that's a nice one. You're going to have that in July.
Yeah.
Man, the summaries that she's giving you that's attached to the actual what you always got, continue to look at that, because that gives you your line items for everything there. And we'll expand more on it. I think from here on out we need to include our expenditures as far as what we paid out in salaries and that each month, so you'll have an idea and not having to go look. water and sewer spent X number of dollars in salaries, general fund spent Y number of dollars in salaries. Should be included in the summary. It is included in the full report.
Shannon, how hard would it be to do a comparison to last year on the summer
I could do it.
for the same time period? That'd be helpful.
Yeah, it would.
Is that a common month plan on the profit loss though on water sewer?
Well, it didn't.
Yeah, 85.
I'd love for it to be that way each month.
Yeah.
But now,
What's causing that to be a problem?
well, you would have an increase in your water and sewer sales due to, the increase in the sales of our cost for it.
We didn't have a big expense.
Yeah.
We hadn't had any huge expenses at this time on equipment repairs at the wastewater treatment plant, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're coming, you're right. I mean,
But right now, don't have that.
we're looking right now, I don't know that we got a price yet. Did he give you a price today on that asphalt work?
No, sir.
Okay. We got some asphalt work to do behind East Elementary School where we put in a new sewer line 2 or 3 years ago. And a portion of the road is, where we put that line is sinking, so it's like a trough in the center of the road. That's probably gonna cost us, I'd easily say $30,000. And then we're fixing to start.
Something wrong with the pipe?
No, it's so deep, and when it was filled,
Packed enough on it?
it didn't pack enough, and when we had it resurfaced, it just started to. The road is not, the asphalt's not breaking apart, it's just, I don't want to call it a sinkhole, but it's like what I figure, 3 foot,
Just settled.
yeah, 3 foot
Pipe
wide,
so big.
probably 50 feet long in the middle of the road.
Well, regarding water and sewer, I know we're working on the new alleyway beside Sydney's Restaurant. We're going to pave that alley. Is the water and sewer department finished with that road?
That's completed. In fact, the guy you met with, Dave, looked at that too.
Hopefully we'll have that project done in a month's time.
The paving behind it?
Yep.
Okay.
The relocating the water line has been completed.
Okay. Good. How many alleyways that leave us to go? One more?
I think that's it. Am I correct? Yeah. Now, there's been some discussion with some of the business owners that butt up to the one behind your office, that alley. And then they're talking about the parking lot, but we don't own the parking lot. The county actually owns that parking lot. So maybe it's something that we can work with them and getting the parking lot in that alley resurfaced. Pardon?
I have this county for 50,000.
Time flies. That was, 5 years on that, probably 1 year?
Yeah, it's been more than 5.
It's been longer than 5.
10.
Yeah, we've been doing it for quite a while now.
Okay.
And those alleys average around 25,000, 28,000 each one.
Yeah, imagine the one they own now is going to be above average. To the length.
Yes, it's got to be stripped all the way down and, stone brought in and all that. This is bad shape.
Public hearing on the neighborhood revitalization project application.
Ladies and everyone. So we are applying for the neighborhood revitalization CDBG grant. Our application will go in this Friday. This hearing is the second part of that application process. What I have done for tonight is I've asked 2 of the long-term residents of the Pine Street community to come in and become an official part of our record. First, I have Mr. Art here, and Mr. Art and his family are 5th generation Pine Street residents. So, come on up, Mr. Art.
Bridge, don't interrupt. You may give with council, I gave them a brief description of what this grant was going to do.
Oh, okay, so
You just,
the CDBG Neighborhood Revitalization Grant that we're applying for will start at Madison Street and put in sidewalks from Madison Street all the way down to the entryway of Roses is what we're asking to do. We're also asking to do some new entryway signage and lighting along that corridor because it is very, very dark. It's very unsafe. We have people that live in that neighborhood as well as Jacksonville walking back and forth to work or riding a bicycle to work. And according to SCDOT, we had over 42 accidents on that road since 2012.
That MLK?
yes.
Yes, sir, MLK. You could just go ahead and talk. And,
Oh, and also the Pine Street, it's kind of like a thoroughfare running through there. A lot of people travel that route. And it hasn't been paved, I don't believe, since we've been there. And if you had it paved, you know, the people could see where the cars need to be and where the pedestrians can walk. Because right now, the dirt is covering the pavement. Pavement really needs to be resurfaced.
Pine Street, close to your...
What would need to be done there is you can get your neighborhood to write a letter and give it to me. I'll give it to the Seed Fund committee who's in charge of paving streets. And we'll give it to them.
Neighborhood people. Okay,
People in your neighborhood, yes.
I'll do it.
You can't-
Bottom of it,
Yeah.
necessity, and just give people a sign.
Okay,
That's
And
all I
I
got.
suggest that Bridget helps you can grant it.
Yeah, too bright.
And then we'll turn it over to the Seed Fund committee and put it on there. Hopefully they'll put it on their list.
good. The residents of Pine Street be more than grateful.
All right.
and you want to talk about the sidewalk project?
Yeah, the sidewalk, it's people going from these areas of town, I would say, to get to Walmart. And it's dangerous for them, there's no sidewalk for them really to walk on. And somebody's gonna get hurt. And people, a lot of people work out there at the restaurants, they don't have cars, they have to walk. And there's no sidewalk, you know, there's walking in the highway. And somebody's gonna get killed.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be there. We've been trying to address that for some time now. So, there's definitely a need for that.
With the lighting, we got good lighting on Pine Street, but on Martin Luther King, it's need a little more lighting on that. And a lot of people come through, from out of town, they come down that Martin Luther King, and you need to have it looking good.
I go down and walk. Probably down here.
Thank you.
so much. Thank you.
And next I have Mr. Preston Green, and his family is it 3 generations, Chris? Two generations on Pine Street, and he's also on the MLK Boulevard. So he's going to speak on that.
Good afternoon. I just want to reiterate what Mr. Green had already told you. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and I've been there, it's 56 years now. My mom and dad before me, but the shoulders of the road on MLK they're very narrow. I go out each day to check my mail at my mailbox, and I sort of have to wait my turn because cars are coming by and it's just too close. You can check your mailbox without possibly getting hit. But sidewalks would be beautiful. I know it takes money. I know the city has to appropriate funds to do all of this. But sidewalks would be nice. As you go down MLK towards Walmart, like I said, there are no sidewalks at all. On Carmichael Boulevard there, from Carmichael back out to Radford Boulevard, there's only one street light. So it's very dark at night. It's not safe for anybody to walk during that way, during nighttime. And that's just an unsafe place to be during the night. And I would like to see more lighting in that area because as time goes by, we have more traffic coming through that area. And Pine Street wasn't always a go-through. It was a dead-end street there, where Carmichael Boulevard is now. And now that it's open, people come down Pine Street, and as you know, they're not obeying the traffic signs and the traffic signals, so there are a lot of fast cars that come through there. So one other thing I would like to see is a little bit more police presence on Pine Street, because we have a lot of small children that play, and they don't have any regard for cars coming because they're used to playing out the street because they're used to that being a dead-end street. But it's different now, so they don't obey the car, the speed limit sign. So I would like to see some more presence out there. And I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm planning on staying there. I just like to see it a safer neighborhood. Thank you.
So that's all we have. We just wanted that to become an official part of our record to enter in with our grant application. And if y'all don't have any questions for me.
I'd like to get Reduke Energy on those street lights.
We can get all look at that. In fact, I think Mr. Green, the last time, well, when that light was added, I believe Jonah Beach was on council at that time.
Exactly.
So that's been several years ago. And that's at the corner of, or at the intersection of Pine and Carmichael, I believe.
Correct, it is.
And we just have to see if there's any other poles out there on Carmichael Boulevard for them to light, so we'll check into that.
All right. Thank you. Citizens report. Anything anybody else want to bring our attention out? With that, unfinished business, we have none. New business bid proposals for 1112 East Hampton Street demolition. That plan has briefly called our attention.
It was last month, we talked about a possibility of how are we going to recoup our money in doing this. Benny had reached out to this particular property owner. They're not interested in deeding this over to the city. So the question now is, how long is it going to take us to recoup our money? Whether it's $70,000 or $48,000 or $30,000.
What do you mean they're not willing to?
Well, the idea was they just deed the property over to us. The city would own the property, then the city would pay for it to be demolished. And, at least
What do they want to do with the property?
they want to keep the property. Am I correct? That's correct. So,
Okay, so then they have to bring it up to code, all that, you give them a timeline.
that's already been done. That's already been
all
done.
been done.
That's been done. Now we're at the point of they either demolish it or we demolish it. They're not going to demolish it.
Okay, so, I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. What other people do after this?
I know a lot of people do a lot after it. They end up getting the property in some fashion or form.
It's unsafe.
I don't know if we do eminent domain? I guess, we can just put a lien, we can put a lien on the property. And then if it's ever sold, I guess we get our money back that way. Is what Jack is suggesting.
I don't know, I doubt you'd ever get all your money back if it costs as much as you're talking about.
I mean, how much is it worth? How much is the dirt worth? I mean, it can't be worth 15, 16, 20,000.
I wouldn't think it is, yeah.
And they don't care whether we demolish it or not?
Ma'am?
The owners,
No,
they don't
they
care?
don't want it.
Well, I mean, they've got to do it, but they're not gonna do it.
Well, they would be responsible, for the balance of that at the sale.
Yeah, that is correct.
So-
Whenever the property is sold,
Yeah.
we could get our money back at that
Well,
time.
what I'm
but-
saying is the property owners would be responsible for the balance. I mean, if we have a $50,000 investment and they sell it for $20,000, they gotta come to the table with 30. Now, how happy are they gonna be with that? We're gonna give you an opportunity to save yourself 30,000, you know.
All right, I mean, I agree.
Sounds like a good deal to me. I mean,
But we
unless they've
just-
got somebody who wants to come in there and buy that thing for $500,000, and that ain't gonna
No,
happen.
it's not gonna happen. When we do, residential units, we're only looking at $5,000-6,000 because you don't have to deal with asbestos when you do
Right.
one single residential unit. This being a commercial property, that's where the cost then lies for them getting rid of the material, so.
Just tell them.
Well, I think we'll figure it out, but you want to proceed on the demolition.
Well,
The question is, do we want to put out $50,000 to demolish it and put a lien on it, or whether we want to let them demolish it?
which they're not gonna do
They're
it.
not going to do it. So,
And either we do it or it doesn't get done, and if we don't get it done, it's gonna be
just
just
tell
like.
them they owe us $50,000. Do they like that?
You pay taxes on that land?
Yes, ma'am.
Put it on the tax?
Well, that's what will happen. It'd be put on their tax lien.
Tax bill.
Well, couldn't you do
Lien
that
on
like
tax.
do any property like that?
Say again, I'm
Put it
sorry.
on tax sale and sell on tax sale, somebody buy it.
Well, it won't be on tax sale unless they don't pay their
That's what I'm
property
saying.
tax.
That's what I'm saying.
But if for some reason the property is sold, or, and Jack, tell me if I'm wrong, or they don't pay their property taxes, then it's sold. That way, whoever buys it,
Lien attaches.
the lien stays with it, they have to pay it.
So,
They don't have a clear title for
They're
it.
not going to jump on that.
Yeah.
That piece of land for $50,000.
No.
You know.
So do you want to go forward, or what do you want to do with this property?
Personally, I think you gotta go forward with all the talk about all the trouble we've had and perception of the, over there, and the side family dollar and everything else.
There's some real value in the things that we're getting rid of, other than the asbestos.
Understand.
but think, just like the property on Hill Street, right? Just like out here around or something, right? Okay, you put them on tax sale, then can't the city take them over there? Can't the city pay for it?
Could we buy it off the tax sale? Oh, it could.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't want to.
But they're paying for taxes now, so.
They can pay $50,000.
Taxes every
They
year.
can pay no $50,000. They want to pay $50,000 tax now, they can pay $50,000 keep. Just like Ryder, so he can pay nothing out of it. And now, when I pay, the city pay.
So
Normally, if I stay there forever, it's the same way.
on the agenda, under new business, is the bid proposals. Like I said, the high was 70,000, the low bid was, I just got by text. and I
You have to
nothing-
look at that bid and make sure that it does all the things.
Yeah, we would, but I'd like for council to accept the low bid and make a motion to accept the low bid. And then once we get in writing, so we can make sure everything's good, that possibly we can get started here within the month.
Right, I make the
In
motion
an
that
open
we-
session.
Yeah.
You got an executive session.
But that ain't got anything to do with this.
Okay, all right.
I'd say, make the motion that we accept the low bid as long as it meets all of the direction that we want in order to make sure that the asbestos is taken care of. It is apples to apples.
A second. All right, you got a motion, you got a second, all in favor? Anybody opposed?
And they being the contractor, has to be permitted, or they are permitted, but they have to get a permit through DHEC for asbestos, and once that's done, we can move forward. Thank you.
Okay. All right, anything else on that? Good.
I'm good, thank you, sir.
Council member reports, Jonathan? Taking auditions for the Scrooge production, that's going to be latter part of November through December. The money we're raising coming along pretty good. All y'all in the audience this Christmas, we're going to have a great production at the Dillon County Theater. I'm gonna get with you to churches and everything else. So, hope it's a big deal for Dillon, okay? I hate to bring this up, but I know it's not on the agenda and I gotta bring it up. I've already been slapped around about it, but back to the chicken issue. I mean, we left it as we're gonna carve that out, or what was my understanding of it? I do know.
Nothing was, from our last meeting, didn't get a direction. You talked about it, but y'all never, as a group, directed to go with it.
Just for those that like raising them, I'm gonna stand up for them and wish that we as council would allow however many, 5 or 6 caged in their yard like other cities do. I mean, now, if y'all don't wanna do it, that's fine, I'll table it or forget it and move on.
You're talking about chickens only?
Yeah.
No roofs.
No.
I don't. We've already got it, right?
We have where you can't have it.
If we could
Any
put it
at all.
on there.
Any at all.
I think that's-
I think you need to limit it to a certain number.
Yeah, you gotta bring that back to us then.
Sure thing.
We direct you to bring it back to
Right, okay, do that.
the chicken bill.
Without a cartoon. Okay.
I'm encouraged that other people have had to address this.
We will bring you something back to look at at our next meeting.
All right.
I have not. It's a great place to live.
Benny,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
remember that last, I think, meeting, they brought the pictures of that dilapidated house on South Fourth Avenue? Where did that stand? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, ma'am, I did. The ownership had changed. We had condemned it and sent them a certified letter. So we had since then sent them another certified letter to the new owner. So we have to go through the process again of waiting until he signs for the certified letter. And then once we get the green card back, I'll submit all the paperwork to Jack, and then we have to advertise it 3 weeks. And at that point, we'll be ready to demolish it. But I'll keep you updated.
So the letter just went out?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's it.
Make a motion to go in executive session to discuss contractual matter for purchase of property.
All in favor?
Thank y'all.